guys, this is Stormouse03, and this is my Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings Dark Difficulty walkthrough. Alright guys, so we are continuing Chapter 1. In the last video, you saw that we picked up the Blasphemer's armor set and the swords Ultimatum and Anathema. And now we're going to continue on with the quest. And so where we last left off with the main quest, we were going to this spot up here to the right, upper right in the map, and we are going to be going to get some ooze that the Kayran left when it was apparently there at some point in the near past. So if you notice the screen is sort of wonky looking, that is because we are using these cursed swords. They are really powerful, but they make your screen look like crap. So it's just a trade-off that you kind of have to deal with when you use these things. So definitely the benefits outweigh the consequence here. So you'll have a couple bandits to fight on your way up to this spot where we're going to be meeting Triss and getting the Kayran ooze. And you just want to, deal with them. Now that you have these swords and this armor, you can take some punishment and deal out some punishment, a whole lot more than you could a little bit ago when you did not have this stuff. So that's really good. So we are rapidly approaching the end of Chapter 1 here, which is pretty cool. You got a couple more bandits up here. Nothing too terrible if you, again, just sort of play it smart. This one shield guy can be a pain, especially if you get yourself into this not so advantageous position that I got myself into right there. But anyway, not too difficult to clean up. And so, as we, come to the end of this chapter, I think it's important to note that I did do pretty much all of the side quests. I have a couple more to do before we start with the end of this chapter and start doing the bosses and things. But I just wanted to kind of talk about the idea of doing all of the side quests on the hardest difficulty and why I'm choosing to do that. I'm going to pause this conversation for a second and talk about this right here. So you meet Triss at the top of this hill, and you're going to follow her down here, and it's kind of a long little windy path. And so when we get to the bottom, there's going to be some drowners and such that we're going to fight, and I'll talk about that when we get there. But in the meantime, I'm going to continue on with previous discussion here. So you definitely do not have to do all of the side quests like I have done, but my reasoning for doing them is the more side quests you do, the more XP you get, the more perks that you're going to receive from leveling up, and the more money and items and crafting stuff and materials you are going to have as you go through the game. So you're going to be better equipped to get through the more difficult fights, and you're going to just be better set up for the end. So that is my reasoning for doing everything. You could probably skip some of these quests if there's, one or two of them that are just really frustrating you or giving you a hard time. You don't have to do them all, but it's a good idea to at least do most of them, in my opinion, because they're going to really set you up for the rest of this game. It may seem like a struggle here in the beginning, but once you get through, some of them, start leveling up, start getting these better weapons and armor and things that you're able to buy because you have money from the quests, then this game will start to feel easier for you. I think it is at its most challenging, except for a couple of parts, when you are here at the beginning with a low level and not very good equipment. So just my thought there. You'll take out these drowners here at the bottom of this you know, little valley area. And so you want to try to keep some distance from most of them, try to lure them out one by one, because if you get 2 or 3 of them at a time, they can put some damage on you. But you do have Triss there to kind of distract them, and so that makes that not too terribly bad. Something that you should definitely go and do when you are over in this section is head over to this wrecked ship that's over here. You'll notice that there's a chest over here that you can't open until you come over to the left here and grab the key off of this dead guy or dead barrels, something. It's over there. And then you can unlock this chest right there, and that's going to initiate the Mystic River side quest, and that'll be one of the quests that actually continues on from chapter 1 to chapter 2. So we'll be doing one more thing with that during this chapter, but it will continue into chapter 2. You won't be able to complete it just yet. So you come over here, you have a little bit of dialogue with Triss, and you're going to collect your Kayran sample. I like to think of it as ooze. I'm not sure if the game calls it ooze, but I'm going to call it ooze. So get your Kayran ooze, talk to Triss a little bit, and you will have done this little side section on your way to fighting the Kayran. And Triss is going to tell you about this potion that you can make to help you during your fight. So the next thing you're going to want to do for this quest is to head down here. You'll see where I'm located right there on the map at this waterfall here. And it's kind of not so easy to see, but you can walk right through this waterfall into a cave. And you're going to have to fight your way through groups of neckers in here. The, best strategy I have for this section is to try to only trigger a few of them at a time, and that will help you to keep from getting surrounded by the little buggers. And yeah, I would also recommend, I didn't do this at this point because I didn't think about it, quite honestly, until later on during my playthrough, but turn the brightness up on your game. If you can't really see in here, because it's dark because you're in the cave, obviously, but it's also your vision is obscured by the swords that you have now. And so every time you pull one out, it just makes it more difficult to see, and especially so in these dark caverns. So if you're having a hard time seeing enemies or figuring out where you're supposed to go through these caves, I would definitely recommend turn up the brightness on your gameplay, and that will definitely help. It might not completely fix the situation because the cursed swords just make seeing a little bit trickier than it normally is, but it will definitely help. So you'll see as I'm going through here, kind of moving slowly room by room. Every time I trigger a necker or two, I make sure that I kill that before moving forward into the caves. But honestly, at this point, if you've got these swords and you've got this armor set, you're not going to be in too much danger here. You should have leveled up enough at this point so that pretty much all of this stuff is not too terribly challenging. It didn't want to let me go up the side of that, which is where you need to go. And so I figured maybe that was because there were some more enemies down here, and there were. Sometimes it doesn't like to let you, well, it won't let you pick up things until, the enemies are clear, at least for the moment. And sometimes it doesn't like to let you do actions like climbing and stuff either. So you just want to climb up right there, and you're going to continue on through a little bit more of these caves here. going to be a few more little enemies to fight, and at the end, when you come to the end of this cave, you're going to have this rot fiend, the greater rot fiend actually. So that means he's more powerful and has more health and stuff than a regular rot fiend. And what you want to do with this guy is once you kill him, you want to move away because he'll explode like you just saw once he's dead. And that's the first encounter with that enemy. We'll be seeing more of them in Chapter 2 for sure. But then you just want to come back to this glowing section of the wall, and that is the Ostmurk that you've been trying to find. So with that in hand, you just want to make your way back out of the caves. We're going to do a little crossfade to back to town. And once you have that, you want to go to your formulas. You have this mongoose formula that you got when you were with Triss as part of the quest, and you should have all the ingredients now in order to make it. And you only need to make one. It gives you a lot of poison resistance, and that is really useful for this particular boss fight that we're going to have later with the Kayran. So that completes that. And now I'm just going to go and do a little side quest here. So we're still in Lobenden, and just over to the right here there's going to be this group of people, and they're going to be talking to this elf, and when you talk to them it'll trigger this side quest called Malena, and you'll find out that the guards here are accusing this elvish lady of hurting their brethren. And they say that she lured them into a cave and that she's working for the Scoia'tael and yada yada yada. You're going to go find out if this is true or not, because it's no good accusing people without evidence. And so we're just going to make our way back over to the Necker Cave where we farmed for silver before. It's, you know, just down by the harbor. So I'm going to cut to that. So we're over here again. You go from the harbor around in this direction, and you'll see them. And then you're just going to head back down into the cave. And so if you watched my other video, I think it was in the last video, I was in this cave before farming for some silver ore, and that was, you know, to get enough materials to make this awesome silver sword that I had. And so I'm just going to be doing the same thing that I did there. This is a really long fight with all these neckers, and so I'm going to speed it up here a little bit. But again, what I'm going to do is go out, you know, hit them a little bit, come back into this area here where they don't really follow you. Something else that you can do here, if you are inclined to use bombs, this is a great place to use those because you'll have a lot of enemies sort of clustered together, and they are very effective here. If you don't have the Torn Asunder achievement to kill 3 enemies with 1 bomb, this is a great place to do it. If you don't have the Perfectionist achievement to kill 10 enemies without losing any health, then this is a good place to do it, because you can just cheese this area here and play it a little bit safer than I'm doing. I'm trying to just make the fight go as quickly as possible, so sometimes I'm taking a few hits here because of that, but you could definitely use this area as a safety net to keep you from losing health and such during this fight. And just to warn you, there are a lot of these little guys in this cave. Like, it is incredible how many of them are actually in here. And just when you think you've killed all of them, there are like 10 more. So, just, you know, play it safe, use your magic, use your, you know, powerful swords. Use that area for sure, because it will save your life. Because if you try to run around, they are going to surround and swarm you, and it's generally not good. So once you kill all of them, and see what I mean? Every time you think, oh, I'm done, they're all dead, there's more of them. So, and it's like, where did you even come from, buddy? Where were you? I don't know. But just be aware of that. Watch for your screen getting that red glow again. Because, yep, more. The never-ending Necker stream. So again, loot this area. If you came here and farmed for silver before, wasn't really farming. It was more like collecting the silver that may have been in the area. But if you came in and did that before, there probably won't be as much left here. But some of the caches of iron and silver may have respawned, and so you might be able to pick up a little bit extra, which is always good, because again, we're going to be needing those materials later on in the game. So any little bit that you can get is good. So once you come up to this upper section here, you're going to see some bodies, and when you examine the corpses, you find that they have been killed by Scoia'tael. And so you're going to have a choice, once again, with this mission. I'm going to show you the longer and possibly more frustrating path to take with it. So I'm going to actually lie and tell the guards that these guys were killed by monsters that were in the cave. And of course the other guards are wimps and they don't want to go in here and actually find out for themselves, because they hear the word monsters and, you know, they pee themselves a little bit. So they take you at your word, and then you get an offer from Malena to reward you by meeting her out in the woods. So we're gonna go do that. And the reason that I'm doing this is that you know, I kind of have a soft spot for the Scoia'tael. I like the elves, so I didn't really want to turn her in. And also, you probably get a little bit more XP this way because you're going to be fighting some more enemies, which is nice. So we're going to go and meet her out in the woods here. We're going to meet her at the waterfall where we just were. And we're going to step in some traps because that's what I like to do. Before you go up to her and trigger the quests to continue, you want to kill these drowners, because they can be quite a nuisance, as you are going to see. I believe that I almost get myself killed here, because I think there's 4 of them. They are extremely damaging when they hit you, but if you back up, you know, in this direction, they kind of run back into the water, so you can move back and recharge your magic and stuff if you need to. So the Igni works pretty well on them, but yeah, see, that was really bad. You just want to make sure that you don't do what I have done so well in this section right here. You don't want to get yourself surrounded or flanked by them, because one hit from these guys is extremely damaging. So in any case, you want to take out the 4 of them before you initiate this quest. So what I'm going to do now is, you also want to make sure that you go into the next part of this quest with full health. So what I'm going to do is, after I get finished looting stuff from the corpses of those drowners, is kind of stand and recharge my health. So I'm going to crossfade here to when I have full health again. Yay. And then I'm going to go and talk to her. And surprise upon surprise,
I'm glad you came.
She is kind of a little traitor and says, well, thanks for helping me out, but I don't want anybody finding out about it, so we're just going to kill you. So then you're going to have some Scoia'tael to kill. So, you know, I tried to help you guys out. I tried to be sympathetic to the Scoia'tael. Just not happening. You're going to make me murder you all. So, what I do during this fight is one of my little go-to strategies for this game, which is get them all to follow me around trees. Get them all to follow me in a line while I let my magic recharge and go in for a couple of hits every now and again, and that is pretty effective at taking these guys out. Sometimes this is an opportunity. I want to make sure that I mention this, to get an enhancement, an armor enhancement that's pretty rare. You can get, I believe it's a Dubled, D-H-U-B-L-E-D-D. Armor enhancement is a rare drop from these guys, so I don't use this as an opportunity to get that. I'm like, well, if it drops, it drops. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But you could potentially, you know, make a save right before this and load it again if you don't get that armor drop or armor enhancement drop. And you could get that here if you were so inclined. So what you will get is a lot of these sort of blue mountains. So at least it's something that you can sell. And so after you finish looting their bodies, you want to head back to the ruins where we were for the In the Claws of Madness side quest. So here's where we are on the map. And you're just gonna head right on in here, and once you go through the entrance here, she's going to be just around the corner on the right. There she is. You talk to her.
Mercy.
You can either turn her into Laredo or tell her to get lost, and so that's what I'm gonna do, because again, I'm just a big old softy, and that ends the quest and gets us our XP. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next episode where we continue Chapter 1.